and conduct business. Okay, let's take a moment for a moment of silence. And seems like every time one problem goes away, two come up. I'd love to take a moment to consider those things. Thank you very much. But don't believe we have a public delegation tonight.
No, sir.
Okay. Number 5, superintendent report and board discussion.
All right, I'm gonna start off, and there's a note in your file. Cotton Electric Charitable Foundation. We have applied for the Cotton Electric Charitable Foundation's Operation Roundup program, and we did receive an award. We're gonna be in I guess, the April edition of their newsletter that goes out to everyone. But we received an award in the amount of $5,796.85, and that's gonna help us in our child nutrition area. We're gonna buy a new mixer. Those mixers are super expensive, but it really helps us to make food, breakfast for the students and lunches for the students. And we're very grateful for the Cotton Electric Charitable Foundations and what they do to support us. They're outstanding. We took the pictures the other day, and hopefully I'm photogenic enough to make the paper. Facilities update. Good gosh, we have been really going strong. The high school restrooms are nearly complete. They look extremely nice right now. We've done new tiles in there and did the walls so that we can sanitize them a little bit more appropriately. They really look nice. They should be done within the next few days. We're placing new water dispensers in the 4th and 5th grade hallway. And we're finishing the bidding process on retiling the cafeteria. We're looking at the cafeteria. It really hasn't been upgraded in a while in terms of the facility itself. We have been getting some new machine stoves and that sort of thing in there. But what we're looking at is retiling all of the floor in there. That floor is old and hasn't been done, I think, in quite a while. So we're getting some bids on that. We're looking at also painting. Those walls need to be painted. And I really want to do something nice for the students, you know, something more enticing and exciting in there. You know, we did take a look at the menu and so on, but we still don't have the stainless steel tables. We did order them. We're just waiting for them to come in. And our new food warmer has just come in, so we're upgrading some of the machines that they have. I'm really pleased about that. But in terms of facilities, that's going to be next on our agenda. We're going to take a look at that and see, you know, what we can do to really upgrade our cafeteria. Our return to learn plan, we've had some students that have gotten sick, but it's really just the seasonal allergies and that type of thing. Really,
Yeah, if RSV will leave us alone.
yes.
Yeah, that seems like even people my age do that stuff. Yeah, it's all good to hear. Thank you very much. Are there any questions? Number 6, statement of consent agenda. Following matters may be approved in their entirety by the board upon motion made, seconded, and passed by majority vote of the board members. However, upon request by any board member, any one or more of said matters will be removed from the consent agenda and acted upon separately. Is there discussion? I move to pass the consent agenda.
Second.
McKinney,
Yes.
Bales,
Yes.
Cook.
Yes.
I got deer in the headlights there. Okay. That was number 7, right? So, motion passes. Number 8, we don't have to deal with since we didn't remove any items. Number 9, business. 9.1, consideration, discussion, and possible board action to approve engagement letter and continuing contract with auditor firm Bledsoe, Hewitt, and Gullickson.
This firm, Bledsoe, Hewitt and Gullikson, has been our auditors for a number of years. Next year, because of our federal expenditures, we're gonna go over the $750,000 limit, and we're gonna have a federal audit. According to the State Department of Education for federal audits, this firm also can work with us on that, so that's very good. I'm very pleased with that. It's my recommendation that we approve their continuing contract with us.
What am I doing?
Make a motion.
I make a motion to approve the engagement letter and continuing the contract with Bledsoe, Hewitt, and Gullikson.
Second?
McKinney?
Yes.
Bales?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes.
Motion carries. Okay, 9.2, consideration, discussion, and possible board action to approve gym use request form, gym use regulations, and hold harmless form.
One of the things that I've done for you is I've provided our board policies for school property use. That's in there, and I took that information that was in our board policy and I created some documents that we absolutely need. If you take a look in your packet, all of that information is in there. One is a hold harmless policy that can be provided to anybody that's going to use our facilities either outside of the school day or any outside person that we deem needs to use the facilities. I've also taken our board policy and created a facility rental and usage guidelines. The guidelines are designed for someone, if they have questions about what they can do within the facilities, it's outlined. Here's all of the things that you need to do. Here's how you take care of the property. It's outlined pretty extensively. They'll sign that and date that. And finally, let's see, is that everything that I've done? Yeah, I think those two things right there are the guidelines that I've designed. Is there something else?
Well, the gym regulations in there here.
Yep, they're there.
3 things.
And what was the third one?
Hold harmless form.
That's in there?
Request form.
And then the request form, yes.
Yeah, just-
So, in the board policy, there's a request form. I've updated that form so that the information that's found in our board policy is actually on that form. If someone wants to rent the gym, for example, they're supposed to rent it at $10 an hour for a minimum of 3 hours. That information wasn't on the form that was provided with our board policy, so I've just updated it a little bit. Put that in there, and I also put a section on there for, in case of the event that we wanna waive the fee. In some cases, some
Yeah.
local people use our gyms, and we don't wanna charge them. So, that information will be in there. This is really important, this document is really important, here's why. When we, use the gym, we need to have a master calendar that tells us when the gym's used and how it's gonna be used and everything else. When they sign this document, it locks in that time and date in place for them to use, and then someone else can't overbook, and we're not double booked on the gym or any other facilities. I would like to have the board approve these 3 documents, so that in the event that we have someone that wants to come in from the outside, we have these things in place. The hold harmless form is just a liability waiver that says that they're gonna use the facilities and not hold the district, the administrators, or the board, and the superintendent responsible for any injuries that occur.
Yeah.
Is there a form in here that says hold harmless?
Yeah.
Is it
I
use of
the
school
hold
property
harmless agreement.
regulations?
Yeah.
The hold harmless is this one.
Yes.
Hold harmless
I
agreement.
think,
Yeah,
I think it's in that first section. I think it's like the 4th paper, maybe. I think it's the next one.
This one?
Yep.
Okay.
There you
Oh,
go.
I see it, hold
Yeah,
harmless.
that was
Okay,
for
thank
the
you.
case.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Now, okay, the last sentence of that hold harmless says by signature on this document or this agreement, I, as the contact person duly authorized to act on behalf of the above-named organization. I don't see an above-named organization.
I will add that to that.
Okay.
I'll add that. Thank you for catching that.
It's just just 2 seconds on my
Yes, sir.
computer. Oh, what do you hear?
Excuse me.
Absolutely.
Just when you think the world's getting better, here comes John.
Did I wake you up? Want to call?
No, no.
Did you know I called?
Yeah, I called you back. Did you know
Oh,
that?
no, I have you on silent. I'm not gonna let you interrupt our meeting because you can't make it on
Oh,
time.
God, him put him on silent.
Got that.
I don't remember that.
Thank you. We're on 9.2.
Yeah, and it's these 3 documents here.
Work in progress.
Yeah,
Yeah, so am I.
2 documents, that's all. 3 No, there's 3.
Not gonna
because
happen.
There's this, the request form also. You know, it's really, you know, in some ways, it's kind of sad we have to do this, but I know we need to do it, we should do it.
Well,
If we're not, we're being careless.
the responsibility and obligation has already been put on us by other legal systems and stuff, so, yeah, compliance is a must. Without having read this thoroughly, do they come to the superintendent's office? Do they come to the principal's office?
They can come into the main office and we'll give them the paperwork. We'll sit down and put their dates on the calendar. We'll walk them through.
So you'll be in your office?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Part of this is going to be through the athletic director that says sporting event and that sort of thing.
So she'll be part of it?
Yes, she'll be part of it as well.
Will she be the one assigned to be here, or is it gonna be a volunteer? kind
That's a
of
great question and something I was gonna talk about in the next section.
Okay, well, we'll wait.
But we will need to, if we're going to put these people on a schedule, then we need someone to keep up with the master schedule and also someone to open the gyms for them. Right now, the coaches are opening the gyms, but we may have to change that. And depending on your vote, we may have to offer a stipend because this is an extra duty. What we're talking about is someone that's gonna have to go up on their time to make sure the gyms are open, that, you know, they're being monitored somewhat, and that someone's keeping up with the calendar.
I know there's custodial staff in a lot of places.
Our current custodial staff is on a contract, so it'll have to be something outside of their contract.
But we do kinda have somebody,
Yeah,
one or more people in one entity that can do that.
We have some people that are opening the gyms now, but they're doing it sort of on their own time.
Yeah.
What we need to take a look at is potentially someone to have that as an assignment.
Coach 80's through at the end of this month.
Yeah, what I'm alluding to is that they have more than one,
yeah.
because one's not gonna be there all the time, so we have alternates.
Yes,
Okay,
we'll absolutely work on that.
okay.
And we're trying to find someone now.
Okay.
We are looking.
Is there further discussion? Are there questions?
I actually do, on the very last page.
Oh,
The school district will not provide emergency shelter for patrons during
Oh, we
weather
do.
emergency.
We do. It's circled on.
Oh, will/will not.
Yeah, it's circled on the board policy that we will.
Okay,
On the actual board policy, we do, without question, we have that open.
okay.
We have 2 people with current keys that open the gym for that
Yeah, I know.
purpose right now.
Now, you changed the locks on that keys, didn't you,
Yes, sir.
on the gym?
Yes, sir.
How, that was pretty recent, or?
Since
while
I've
back?
been here, I
Okay.
would say it was probably, I'm guessing September, October, somewhere maybe.
Okay.
So you know who's got the keys then?
I know exactly who has the keys, and I'm very meticulous about the gyms and who has access and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I think that we have to in this day and age.
Is there this might sound nitpicky, but is there something in the event that there is a problem with some people that come in?
mhm.
What do we have as a rescue situation, the sheriff, or to come out?
Well, it says in here that the responsible person to close the facility.
Well, but that's,
Yeah,
in the event that isn't possible, then we would have to call on somebody in authority to take whomever out here by their ear and do whatever needs to be done.
The answer, that's a very big question, so I'm gonna be a little bit long about answering it. So
Okay.
let me-
Was that part of your next, because I can wait.
No,
Okay.
but I think I need to answer it. So, I've been given reports by some of the faculty here that they don't allow their own students to come to the gym because of some of the problems that have existed right here in our own gym. So you have a legitimate point, there's no doubt about it. The responsibility of making sure that things don't happen, drug use, for example, people, tearing up our facilities, for example, those types of things. Doing things that they're not supposed to be doing, vaping on property, using tobacco products, all of that
Coming in
stuff.
under the influence.
Right. What I don't want to happen is to put someone in a position where they're going to have to, be the police for that. And if the
No, that's
response-
why I'm asking the
Yeah, the
question.
response time for the police officers to get here is over 20 minutes. It is well over 20 minutes. And so, my thought was that they could report it and then we just don't give them access after that.
Absolutely.
If we call the police during that time, 20 minutes, they could be out, they could be doing all kinds of stuff, and it would be, I don't wanna put someone in a potentially bad situation where they have to confront somebody, I just don't.
No, I don't, that's why I'm asking, do we have somebody that can come in the event of,
If I'm not here, it takes me 30 minutes, so
If
the
it's-
police officers would be the soonest that they could get. We could, I think Ms. O'Brien, our athletic director, lives probably 5 or 10 minutes away.
yeah.
well, I'm close, but I don't know that would facilitate what needs to be done in a legal manner. We could say, y'all you're trespassing, you're violating the rules, you need to leave. And if they say, no, we're not, dropping the F-bombs and they get all upset.
Yeah.
At that point in time, it's really out of our hands.
Yeah.
It needs to be an authority to come in and,
Yeah, if there's something illegal going on.
we're gonna know who they are if they decide they wanna mess stuff up
Yes.
and then just take off and leave it because they've already signed the sheet. So they're,
Well, unless there's just a real run on gym usage, we have maybe one a year that asks to use it for a birthday party or something like that. Now, unless this causes them to maybe decide to use it.
One of the things that
it's only gonna
preemptively-
take one person to
That,
Yeah, these are
Preemptive-
usually little kids,
We
elementary.
gotta be prepared.
one of the things that preemptively caused me to look into this, though, was that we had somebody using our gyms. They didn't have permission, but they wanted to use it, and this will give them an avenue if they want to come in and use it.
Yeah.
We fill out the liability forms, we give them the, information about the use, the regulations, and they can fill out the form, set a date, and come up and use the gym if they want to.
Yeah, and it's available to the community.
To the community.
Without, anybody being treated preferentially.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And, I mean, that would alleviate a lot of that misgiving about it. The only time that I'm gonna ask that the gym really be shut down is if we have to shut it down for, the state athletic.
Yeah.
That's over the 4th of July holidays. They tell us that we have to have our gyms shut down, and
Yeah.
we do
Yeah.
that, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, now, should we have auditoriums? Because sometimes people want to use the auditorium.
Well, we need to
Cafeteria.
specify that on this right here, what can be used and what's, not. It's already in our policy that they can use facilities. I was taking it as like, some of the coaches are gonna be mad at me, baseball fields, for example, they take great care of that baseball field.
Yes, they do.
And if someone goes out there and tears up the field, they're gonna be blaming me because I let somebody use it.
I tell you what, it's
There's
so
already
nice.
people that show up and use the softball and the baseball field. They did it all last year.
Yeah. Nevertheless, if we put it down here, they have access to it after school.
But it's so nice to drive by there and see the parking lot full
Mhm.
and that facility being used.
Yes.
It's just really neat.
But, I mean, that's part of it, and so's the auditorium, and so's the gym. We need to put that down.
But
if
I
we're
can
gonna-
tell you the baseball and softball field, neither one are locked.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's not like you can sign for a key,
Yeah, but.
Well, they can hop the fence and use it.
Really,
I
they
think-
should.
I used to do
I
that when I was
think
a kid.
there's a couple of there was little league teams maybe, and I think they called the school and got
Did they?
permission to use them for their
Good.
practice.
Good.
There may have been some that didn't, but there were
Yeah.
some
There
that
could
did
be a
ask.
sign posted down there that say you need to call this number.
Reservations on this
Yeah.
number, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just so they won't.
So that
be
there,
on the
it's
same
like,
day.
it's like the no hunting sign. I didn't see it, don't matter. It's there.
It's there.
So I would, that's what it'd be, I would recommend.
We can put signs.
So this is just, we're just talking right now about just using the facilities.
Yes, this is facility usage.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, just how much are we gonna incorporate on this?
Well-
For me, the gym is the gym, and you can add the auditorium, cause that's a fixed
well, here,
asset building.
this here says request for use of school property.
Yeah.
So that's,
But they,
All that covered, the
yeah, it
cafeteria
covers a
and all that.
multitude
yeah,
of things.
but there needs to be a sign down there that says they need to do
Yeah,
that.
right,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And, you know, just to avoid a conflict. You know, somebody comes in there without permission to practice and then, oh, there's a scheduled game. Yeah,
Yeah.
somebody's gonna be upset. And, yeah, it needs to be on the schedule.
So anybody can come to, so what we're saying right now is how it currently stands is anybody can go to the school and request to use it, fill out the forms, and they get access to it.
Yeah.
No,
On
not
the schedule.
exactly. There's a fee that's supposed to be
Yeah,
charged.
there's
It's in a-
$15 an hour and.
So-
Well, it's-
Yeah, if they fill all that out, now we can waive that, just depending on what it is and who's using it
Okay.
and that sort of thing. But it's,
I saw 15.
it's all in the,
2 hour
on the
minimum.
forms, and it's all in the board policy, it's just scattered throughout there. I put it all in one form so everybody can just see what the,
Mm-hmm.
But you
Okay.
keep somebody here for 3 hours, or keep them here for 2 hours, you know, that's, nobody wants to work for $10 an hour anymore.
No.
I didn't sign on my phone, did I?
No, you didn't. That's all right, Josh. We forgive you.
Well,
We forgive
I would've done it if I wasn't late.
you. That's okay. Is there further discussion?
No, I'm just trying to nail every little loophole that
That's okay.
I, you know, and
And-
there,
and that-
there
and
may
That's
be
pretty
groups
much
that we don't
impossible,
want out
but You
here.
just go
And
ahead.
it, and
We
it-
don't, you know,
and
how you
it-
gonna tell them, no, you're not doing it, but they can.
You know, and it may be in the future, there may be some loopholes that need to be closed. You know. But we can do that,
Well, you know
It
how
also
soon the
opens the
ACLU jumps on
opportunity.
yeah.
so,
Well, it's certainly a lot better than what we've had,
well, this is excellent, but,
yeah.
Well,
So-
this is also good to see who all surrounding schools.
yeah, that's on my next,
Yeah.
that's my next thing about, key access.
okay.
All right, I move to approve item 9.2, the approval of the gym use request form or facilities use request form, gym use regulations, and the hold harmless form.
That's 9.1.
9.2.
Two.
9.1 was the accountants. Or
Aren't
that's
2 and
9.2
3
on mine.
2 and 3 kinda get it.
Yeah, that three's a little different. Because it's on the,
9.2 is allowing anybody to come to the school and request access to a facility where there's gonna be somebody from the school or being paid by the school.
9.2 is approving the
The
forms.
The forms,
The forms.
approving the forms.
Just the forms, right.
Yeah, now.
Okay.
I'm up to par.
Okay, I was on the other.
is there a second?
Second.
Yes.
McKinney,
Yes.
Bales.
Yes.
Cook,
Yes.
Cavall.
Yes.
Motion carries. Now, 9.3.
Okay, I've done a bit of research. Someone asked me at the last board meeting to come up with a survey, which I did, for the faculty. 3 faculty members wanted to have gym access. 2 wanted to bring in people from the outside. That could be community members. I didn't ask specifically, I didn't break it down that much. 1 wanted access 5 days per week. Just letting you know, that's that. I also had our athletic director
150.
take a look at districts that were, you know, around us to see what they're doing with athletic facilities. And you guys have a copy of that, open gym and athletic facilities use. It breaks it down by districts and what they're actually doing. And there's a couple of things that we need to go into. Some of these allow access from the outside, some of them don't. Some of them it's just for the students and alum. And we need to take that into consideration for some of the things that we're doing. Most of these, except 1 or 2, have a scheduled opening, which means that faculty and, whomever else, schedule what they're doing, and they don't give key access. The one, that I was really kind of surprised by was chatting. They allow staff gym access. I think that they, allow key access, I'm not quite sure. But, it says, they allow staff gym access, and it says we want, our students or alum at the gym, and we've been able to let kids go to the gym without adult supervision. That is not a good idea for us.
Yeah, I don't.
That's not a good idea for us. So, it might be a great idea for them. I don't think that we wanna do that.
Yeah, and we just want our students and alumni at the gym.
Be our students, alumni, and faculty, right?
So,
Yeah.
here's my recommendation to the board, and I'm gonna sort of explain to you why I think that this is important. Because we can take a look at this two different ways. We can have a key checkout, or we can schedule openings. We are currently trying to schedule openings. My recommendation is to put everything on a calendar and try to schedule openings for people that wanna have access. Will we be able to give them 100% access? The answer to that is, you guys might as well guess is no. If someone has already asked for the gym, for example, we can't double book. But there's also a problem with availability of personnel to man the gyms and monitor that. So, according to our board policy that we have, if someone from the outside wants to use, then we have to have someone from the school there to supervise. That means that we're gonna have to get somebody, which goes back to the point I was making earlier about stipend and taking a look at an extra duty. So here's the other thing about key access, guys. I'm just gonna tell you. I did think about this long and hard, and I'm deathly afraid of checking out keys because I don't know what's gonna happen with those keys. Right now, I know exactly where our keys are, who has them, everything else. If I check them out, I don't know what's gonna happen with the keys. So my recommendation is to have access by appointment or through a schedule.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I would like to manage this. If you guys have other ideas, I'm more than willing to do whatever you guys direct me to do.
No, it's part of control, which is a big part of what we're trying to do here, is to have that access but maintain control and responsibility for the facilities that they're using. So, yeah, absolutely.
Well, we don't want backboards broken in.
For me personally, I am a complete no-go for somebody that's not an alumni member or a faculty member or a current student having access to the gym.
Yeah.
I don't want somebody from somewhere else coming over here and using our gym. Now, the exception to that would be if there is a team that some of our current students belong to, and they want to use the gym, I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
But I have a problem with, I just don't want somebody that's not a current student, current faculty, or alumni using the school.
Non-affiliation.
And even then, there needs to be
I can't use it.
responsible school personnel on site.
That, to me, is a different, I'm just saying, I
Yeah,
don't want,
I
I don't
agree
want
with
outsiders
you.
using our facility unless there is a connection some way, and at that point, I defer to Mr. Wise and let him make the decision.
He's the,
So, that is my thoughts on it. Now, as far as, a faculty member signing for the key and, being able to use the gym, as they want to, that's, for me, a different discussion. But I just don't, for me, I don't want,
you know,
uh,
the thing on that, there's a backside of that, of the faculty member having that key and that access. Everybody's gonna want them to come let them in for nothing. And that puts the pressure on that faculty member to be able to say, well, no, I can't do that. And when it's, you know,
Right.
their friends asking to do it, it's kinda hard to do that. And if they don't have a key, I can't do that.
right. But if the faculty member wants to sign for a key,
Or schedule.
schedule and sign for a key.
Or have somebody here to let them in at that time, you know. 'cause
But I'm just saying though, so if the
what happens if
decision
they-
is, if the decision is for us to hire somebody that's gonna open up the gym whenever somebody reserves it,
Mhm.
whether it be a faculty member or not, then there's gonna be somebody watching it. That's what they're paid to do,
Right.
watch it. It's when there's not a paid person here watching it. That's a different, it's a
Yeah, 'cause,
a
you know,
different scenario.
You know, if somebody requests the use of it, they're gonna be out there using it and playing instead of watching everybody else. That's my take on it, where if you have a faculty member scheduled or a school personnel scheduled to be there, it's their job to watch, it's not their job to play. That's how I interpret it, and that's,
Didn't you say earlier it had to be a school member?
Yes, someone from the school has to be there
An
to
employee.
monitor.
Right,
The-
that covers that.
So, I've done this before, I've had to monitor gyms before, and, Mr. Bales, the way that I envision this working is exactly what Mr. Bales has just stated. I had to do this, I literally had to monitor the gym. I couldn't play, I couldn't sit there and visit with people, I was monitoring the gyms, I was checking, make sure everything was running fluidly, make sure that the restrooms weren't really a mess, making sure that they didn't spill Cokes all over our beautiful floor. I mean, those types of things, because that stuff happens.
Yeah.
And someone is gonna have to be dedicated to making sure that the gym's in good shape and everything's going smoothly. That should be the rule. I don't recommend that we check out keys. Because
I agree.
I don't know what happens to those keys after they're checked out. And so I would much rather have a scheduled person coming in that'll open the gym, stay there, close the gym down, and monitor.
Yeah.
It's an extra duty, it's gonna be an extra duty, is what it will amount to.
you know, it's a two-edged sword, either way you go, you're not gonna make everybody happy.
I agree.
That covers what you said though, or what you did. We're gonna have somebody affiliated with.
No, I was saying that if a faculty member wanted to sign for a key,
And then let somebody else in.
and they have to know who they're gonna bring in.
Right.
But the faculty member, if they wanted to play, if they say they're gonna sign for 6 people,
Yeah,
and only those 6 people are there, and the faculty member is playing on the court,
can you guarantee the behavior of us 4?
you can't do that even if you're sitting on the
I
side
know.
watching.
I know.
The
but
person that you're paying
that's-
to be there
but-
is not gonna be able to guarantee that.
Yeah, I know. But somebody's gotta be responsible.
It's whoever signs for that key.
Yeah.
I understand what you're talking about, though. I do understand what you're talking about, that keys were duplicated, keys were passed out, alarm systems were, the numbers for the alarm system were shared. I recognize that. But I think that if we do this, if we let a faculty member sign for it and be responsible during the time that they have registered or reserved it, and anybody is in there other than the people that they have on the list, that they go anywhere other than where that they're supposed to go, because we know we've got cameras, then that person loses the right to sign a key out ever again.
That would kind of be your call if somebody really violates the ethics of what they've signed for and their responsibility.
Intent, right.
Yeah, and if they screw it up, then be done.
But all it takes is one person
Well,
truly making a mess. But again, that can happen even if there's somebody paid by the school to be there and watch.
You know, I mean, you're right. The group always, the huge group always pays for the actions of the worst person.
Exactly.
You're right.
Well, the only thing that I would like to add to this is that your scenario's perfect. If a person checks out a key and misuses the key, then there's a consequence. I understand that part. But what if it's already happened? Then we're gonna allow the same person to have a key that has already misused the key, and we're giving them a second chance to not misuse it. And my fear is that, we'll have duplicate keys, and I just now got control of the facilities. I know exactly who has keys right now. And if I check out, I won't know anymore about who has a key and who doesn't. And that's my biggest fear. I cannot secure the facility, if the keys are being checked out. And it's my job to make sure that our facilities are secure. When I came up here in July, the first thing I did, and I'm gonna tell you why I did this. I was watching my colleague and friend, Hal Harrell from Uvalde, have to stand in front of everybody and make a plea and tell the whole world what happened in his facilities. And I promised myself that I would never allow that to occur. And so we did a walkthrough with first responders. A lot of people came through here. They made recommendations. Every recommendation that those guys made, we have completed. The numbers are up above the doors, the maps being made, first aid kits in every room, new door locks all the way across our high school, so that one key will allow access and everybody can lock their doors. And prior to this, I couldn't even get in if there was an emergency. Now I can hand a key to a first responder and say, you can get into any room that you need to right this second. We did all of that. And part of that process was to make sure that our facilities were secure by changing the locks in the gym. And I just don't want to compromise the security that we have, that I've worked so hard and the staff has worked so hard to get because of a key checkout. I cannot monitor, and people have already duplicated those keys. So that's why I put this vote on here, and that's why I'm asking for the security of this facility. We can do it however you guys want to, and I'll make adjustments. I'll do the best I can. But the facilities and the keys, once they're checked out, I won't know who has a duplicate or not, if they've duplicated those.
Does anybody else have anything to add to that?
You know,
I make a motion that we approve anyone to include faculty scheduled or reserve the gym, but only if we have somebody paid by the school to be there to do it. So no faculty member will would just be assigned the key. It will have to be open for them.
I second the motion.
That covers what you want to do.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
And if we don't like it the rest of this year, there's a problem.
The bottom line is, look,
Yeah, we need to vote first.
McKinney,
yes,
Gales,
Yes,
Cook,
Yes.
Cavall.
Yes.
motion carries.
we make the rules, we can change them, that's the
That's
bottom
right.
line.
You know, if there's
Not a problem.
people have other ideas that could work, we can look at that. Number 9.4, consideration, discussion, and possible board action to approve the pre-K 3-year-old program, maximum of 10 students for school year 2023-2024.
The district currently has a 3-year-old program. It is growing by leaps and bounds, but when we put this program in, it is not making any sort of funds from the state to be able to compensate for the program overall, so we're actually losing money on this program. Currently, we have a waiting list of about 7, and we can take 10 right now. Children participating in this program must meet the same requirements as the 4-year-old program. In other words, they must have a birth certificate, must have a shot record, and it needs to be up to date, and they must have a social security number. And the way that we've set this up right now, since we have so many students that are trying to get into our program, that it's gonna be the first ones that get all of their paperwork in, and they must be from Indiahoma. We have people from outside trying to get into our program.
Absolutely.
But I want to limit this to the people that live in Indiahoma. The way that we're losing money is this: we have a full-time teacher in there with teacher pay and benefits and so forth. It's somewhere in the neighborhood of $60,000 to $65,000 to run that program, and we only get paid, according to what I understand from the state, if they're using special services. So we don't have a number of enough students to pay for that program, and so we're actually losing a little bit of money there. But I would like to keep this available and open for our community as long as we possibly can. And I think that we are gonna be okay through the end of the next year. If there's a really bad recession and we begin to lose money, we may have to look at it, but right now I think we're in good shape.
Well, and to me too, you may lose money on those 3-year-olds, but how many parents of those 3-year-olds are leaving their 4, 5, 6, 7-year-olds here because all their kids are in one place?
Right, the reason why I bring that up is because of the limit. So
Yeah.
when you go above 10, I have to hire another personnel.
Right.
And so we have to limit it to 10 is what I'm
Yeah.
trying to get to
Right.
there. If we have 17 and I took all 17, we'd have to, without question, hire somebody else, and we just can't afford it for that
Yeah.
program.
Vote.
I would like to approve this 3-year-old program for the next school year.
I'd like to make that motion that we approve it.
I will second that motion.
McKinney?
Yes.
Bales?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes.
Cavall?
Yes.
Motion carries. 9.5, consideration, discussion, and possible board action on Heritage Hills roofing invoice and payment.
Okay, I did the best I could with the fuzziest math in the world, and I think I've come up with some sort of solution. I did email Mr. Lack from Heritage Hills and asked him when he was gonna come in to finish that last roof, and he let me know. He wouldn't answer me on the email. He asked me to call him, which I did. And he said that he was not gonna finish that roof. So, I broke down on this green sheet right here, the amount of money that's, from the first invoice, the actual cash value, how much I think his overcharge was, which is over on the right-hand side there. And then the second invoice, how much he's charged us, the actual, cash value, how much the overcharge is that he actually is stating. Our numbers don't add up, and I asked him to clarify that, and he has refused to do so. I'm just gonna let you know, I've asked him a couple of times now, and he has not done that.
He hasn't, you're saying that he hasn't said how he came up to 78,522.50?
Yes.
Okay.
Because the amount that I'm looking at is some, 78,582.39, it's not that much, it's about $60 difference, but I don't know where the discrepancy is.
Okay.
And I can't figure out what his numbers actually indicate. But he is saying that he has overcharged us by $78,522.50. His current invoice is $196,708.11 minus the $78,522.50. And so there's one more area that we will get from the insurance company, it's recoverable depreciation. According to the statement of loss, it's in the neighborhood of $48,000, but I don't think he's gonna get that much because he didn't do all of the buildings. So my best guess, not being the insurance adjuster, is that he's gonna get in the neighborhood of $47,000. So we'll have to pay $71,185.61 is what it looks like. The total claim amount that we received from the insurance company was $676,580.59. The total amount that we'll end up paying Heritage Hills is $663,034.85. The total amount that we're not paying out of our claim is $13,545.74. So that's how much is left over from the claim.
So he said he was not gonna do the elementary building. After he said he did the elementary building, then would do it again for free.
Yeah.
He's now decided he's not gonna do it at all. Well, that's,
That's exactly right.
it's not even cool.
I could break this down more for you, but I think it would just be muddying the waters. What I would like to do is get away from this guy as quickly as
It's not
possible.
mud.
We pay him for everything that he's done so far. That's my recommendation. We get, him away from us and we find somebody that can do that roof. And we have this much money left over to start.
Do we still need to send him a letter that says he no longer has a contract with us?
I don't think so.
I think I'd
Um,
wait on that based on,
I would too, and there's a
Complaint.
couple of reasons why.
Yeah.
Number one is he didn't fulfill his contract,
That's
according to
right.
what I understand.
that's right.
Right.
I don't wanna put that down on
Yeah.
paper that we think it's okay and
Yeah,
all of that.
okay, I got you. Okay, I understand. Okay, that's why I asked.
He very clearly stated that buildings 3, 4, 5, and 6 were to be done, and he has not done one of those buildings.
Didn't do 3.
Is there additional discussion?
Well, this thing confuses me. This guy has said that he is not gonna fulfill the contract, and he has submitted, costs to do all this work. We already know that he hasn't done it, okay? What bothers me is if we already paid this guy enough money that he should have done that work, but he's overcharged us in other areas, so now he can't do the work. Let's go back to
Okay,
the kitchen,
I understand your question,
all right?
and so I'm gonna try to answer it.
Because
The
if
best
it
that
was
I can.
me, he wouldn't get another nickel.
I'm gonna try to answer your question. He did an original bid on a certain number of buildings.
Right.
His bid was the lowest bid. And then on his contract, he changed that process. And he
Right.
said that he would do the buildings for the amount of the insurance money.
That's right.
Until the money came down to the last $13,000, and I think that building's gonna cost more than that. And now he's saying, I can't make any more money, so I'm not gonna finish that building. I think that's what it looks like to me.
Yeah,
There's a lot of missteps, that I think that we have, and one of them is that we don't have, a reasonable idea about what work he was supposed to do. I never could find that. We don't have a scope of work on the second phase of what he was supposed to do. And so it makes it more difficult for me to, say with any kind of certainty that, all of the work that he has done was supposed to be done. Does that make sense? Like, he has this
yeah.
first thing that's on the contract, and then after that, there's nothing. So I don't have anything that tells me, okay, you're supposed to do this one, this one, this one, and this one, except that initial contract, that
Yeah.
first contract does say that building's supposed to be done,
and he didn't do it,
and he didn't do it.
But
he
he
bid
said
on
he
doing
did
it.
it, and then said he would do it again
free.
He did.
for free.
That's my
That's what he said in the
understanding.
last,
Yes.
last
Well,
meeting.
he said he did it until Mr. Wise said, well, I was here that day and I didn't see anybody.
And he was showing pictures.
And then he was
of-
going to decide that he would do it
Right.
again. That's the way I recall it.
So,
My memories.
for clarity for me, in his estimate that he was gonna do this, he had allocated so much to do that roof on that building that he said he'd already done. But we can't discern how much he actually allocated in his total estimate to do that one building, right? Because what I'm saying is, if he didn't do that building, I can give him money, rain on him. But if we can't discern as to whether or not he included charging us for that building, and he has not done the work, I'm not paying him nothing. I don't, is that,
Yes, there was, according to what I understand from Ms. Bogley, there was some agreement between Ms. Bogley and him to finish the rest of the buildings. That building right there is outlined in the first contract that he gave us. There's no second contract for the rest of the buildings. And to be perfectly honest with you, the, bus barn over here, which costs $50,000, I would much rather have done that elementary building than that bus barn.
Yeah.
But I didn't understand what work he was supposed to do.
so,
And so it makes it more difficult for me to be able to,
yeah.
Wait a minute. Here it says bus barn, 5,488.
that's
Here it
unrecoverable
says-
depreciation.
Okay, and over here on this side, it says 66,000. replacement cost, okay.
Yeah, the
gotcha,
replacement
gotcha.
cost is,
And then over here it says 5,480, okay, I got it, now I get it.
so,
So why is he putting a $38,000 material price increase?
Because he can't.
the insurance
Because
company
it
would
took
give
so
them
long
that,
to get
because
anything done.
Because the prices did increase, and that's part of the.
But that's because he
recoverable
went
depreciation.
outside of when he was supposed to do it.
That's exactly
Yeah.
right, by a year. See, that's,
Well, actually more than a year,
well,
because
see,
we're
that's
still
what I'm
waiting.
saying. This guy played us. We didn't have checks and balances in place on invoices that didn't come in, and we're paying this guy money, and when nobody's checked to say, okay, we got invoiced and this work was done. That didn't happen. That's not on anybody sitting here right now. All right? So, it infuriates me
I wonder-
to have somebody do something like this, in spite of his good name and integrity.
Right. I do want to say something about that recoverable depreciation. Had he turned in an invoice with that work in it, he would have gotten that 38,000 no matter what, because it's part of the recoverable depreciation. But, I can't say that you're wrong about the other things. I mean, there's, ideally, when you have work that needs to be done, it needs to be under some sort of contract.
Well, and there needs to be checks and balances.
He keeps referring to the statement of loss, which the insurance company is telling me he has no business referring to, because that has no bearing on his work.
Right.
His work is between us and him, and the statement of loss is between us and the insurance company. And he's looking at it saying, well, this amount is from the statement of loss, but really, that doesn't wash legally.
But this guy, it appears, has a history of getting low bids on stuff, and then once he gets that contract, he finds a way to make more money and not fulfill those contracts. That's what I'm saying, and he was, I know he was requested by this board to be vetted and to be checked out, and make sure he was okay. And we got back, yeah, he is, and that's because in that meeting is when I asked about making sure that we vetted his employees, so we didn't put somebody with a felony or a pedophile on these school grounds, because they're gonna work while the kids are here. All right, now that was done, but I don't know about the other stuff. So,
What about the recovery of the money because he went over his contract date?
I have not talked to our current lawyer about it. I talked to our previous lawyer about it, and he said that is almost unenforceable.
but
How?
because this, okay, I'm gonna fight I'm gonna work. This guy went way beyond the deadline, this contract should be finished. So through your continual engagement of him, trying to get stuff done, and he keeps putting us off. He didn't answer emails, he don't answer phone calls, he says he's coming down, he don't come down. All this time, the prices are going up. So when he does come down here, now he wants to do the job, well, the prices are so much higher right now. That's why he can't do it now, the prices are too high. You see, he screwed us out of doing what he was supposed to do when the time was right. And that's why I'm saying, I don't care if he gets another nickel. But I'm not the only one that's just my vote. He's a dirty Dan, period.
I can agree with you,
I know what we have to do.
but I wanna get rid of it.
Yeah,
You
Well,
know,
yeah.
This whole thing is taking
that's right.
way too much superintendent time.
Well, and I want to relieve Mr. Wise of
He's,
necessary, because of this guy, nonsense. That should never have to spend time and money on it. You take the time that you've had to spend on this stuff instead of doing your real job, right? The price just went way up there again,
yeah.
all right?
Yeah.
So he's blackballed us to unbelievable. Now, well, I'm not gonna talk about it in this meeting, but there's gonna be other discussions with reference to, Scott Andrews'
Yep.
luck in reference to what he's done. So we'll do what we have to do what you recommended. It's crawling all over me.
Well, it says consideration, discussion, possible board action.
Yes.
What board action would that be?
Either pay or not pay, or we can table. We can choose to not take action.
Well, for me, I don't want to do anything for this guy. I made that pretty clear. But I want Mr. Wise and the rest of us to have to get out from under it. And then there are other things that, other board action that we're gonna consider. And we're not gonna talk about right now.
Do you wanna table it, or you wanna?
No, let's go ahead and finish this, because the other thing that, is up for discussion, we can talk about that later.
So there's a couple of things that we can do. The first thing is we can pay the invoices that he currently has given us, and leave the contract open. It doesn't close the contract by any stretch of the imagination. If you guys wanted to, we could pay the invoice and take out the $50,000 that he owes us for the $100 a day penalty. I mean, we have some options, but if we do something like that, I would like to take it through our current lawyer, and make sure that that is something that we can enforce. But it's in the contract, and he's living and dying by what he says is in that contract, what he's telling you.
Well, I think, we need to do what we can to minimize the loss
Yeah.
of not getting that contract fulfilled and him not doing the work. And, as far as I'm concerned, he's pushed us around, and we've suffered enough that it's time for, it's time to take care of business.
Well, when we went into this, we were wanting to take care of the facility and not have additional damage caused by not taking care of it. But, on the one hand, I do wanna close this book, but on the other hand, I just wanna throw out the idea of tabling this till the next meeting or until a special board meeting.
That's
We'll
fine.
find out from the attorney.
I could talk to the attorney if we, okay.
But I wanna hold any money we can.
Yeah,
I don't
I'm
wanna pay him.
gonna go ahead and make a motion to that we table this until the next meeting and try to. Am I giving you a heart attack? here?
No, I'm not having a heart attack, but can I say one thing real quick?
Okay.
Couple of things. The first thing is, I've been through this before where we had to litigate,
I don't,
it went through litigation, it took 3 years. I'm thinking that if we embroil ourselves into something, it's gonna be in the tens of thousands of dollars range. And if we don't get anything out, then we're gonna be out of the lawyer's fees, and we'll still have to pay the money. So that needs to be taken into consideration if we wanna move in this direction. I don't mind tabling it and talking to the attorney. This guy's really good, and I wouldn't have recommended him if he wasn't. So, I just wanna throw those things out
So,
there.
okay, I'm okay with that. Certainly been able to express
So-
what we're going on here.
So I second your,
I move to table it
I
until
second,
the next meeting, or until a special board meeting.
yes.
In a second.
Kenny,
Yes.
Hales.
Yes,
Cook,
Yes.
Cavall.
Yes.
and I'm not one to usually postpone things, but sometimes.
Well, we need to do a little more information gathering, so it'll be all right.
I'll get it.
Okay.
I'll talk to the lawyer.
You've done everything we've asked you,
Yes, sir.
even if your answer wasn't the one we wanted. Okay, number 9.6. Consideration, discussion, and possible board action to approve resignation of Randy Ulloa, effective at the end of 22-23 school year.
Ms. Alo has done an outstanding job in our second grade. She's just a fantastic teacher, but she's now ready to move on to bigger and better things. So I ask that we approve her resignation.
As bad as I hate to, I move that we accept her resignation, and I'm sure will.
Seconded.
McKinney,
Yes.
Bales.
Yes.
Cook,
Yes.
Cavall.
Yes.
No, she's, you here for the rest of, yeah, whatever. 9.7, motion carries on 9.6. 9.7, consideration, discussion, and possible board action to approve resignation of Donna Runyon from the softball coaching position.
Ms. Ronian stepped in and did an outstanding job this year. She helped us with volleyball. She's asked that it only be a one-year assignment, and so she turned in her resignation. I'd like to thank her for all of her hard work. She did a great job
Volleyball or
with our
softball?
kids. Volleyball. This is
says
volleyball.
Well, here it says softball.
No, it's not softball, volleyball.
Okay, well, I'm gonna change it. Okay, it's volleyball. Okay, all right.
This says softball. Mine says softball too.
That's okay. Did that on the mind. Okay.
I must have softball on the line. I apologize,
No,
guys.
it's all right.
But I ask that we approve her resignation as the volleyball coach.
All right. Regretfully, I'll make the motion to approve that.
I'll second.
McKinney,
Yes.
Bales.
Yes.
Cook.
Yes.
Cavall.
Yes.
Motion carries. 9.8, consideration, discussion, and possible board action to continue OKTLE-MCR-EL for teacher and administrator evaluation system for the 2023-2024 school year.
The CREL and the TLE system are what we use for teacher evaluations and our counselor evaluation. It's a pretty solid system. I use it for, all of the evaluation. I sit down and do multiple observations on the teachers. I sit down and conference with them, talk to them about what I saw and improvements and great things that they're doing. And I go a couple of rounds and we try to improve our instruction through this system. The cost isn't very expensive. It's $60 a teacher and $160 for the counseling portion of it. So I recommend that we approve this and continue this program into the next year.
So it does enable you to record multiple evaluations during the school year instead of
Yes, it
one or
does.
two.
It'll allow you to do walkthroughs, it'll allow you to do observations, and then your evaluation at the end of the year, it does all of that for you. and
So
it
it's just like a
documents.
computer program that you put information in and then it,
Right, the only glitch that I've seen with this program, and it's pretty solid, is that when I there's one section that it won't send out the email to the teachers, I found out, and it was for their conferences for some reason, so I had to notify them in person. But once I figured it out,
Okay.
it's not that big of a deal. All of the information is kept computer-wide, and they can actually sign it electronically if they want to. Really good system.
Is there a motion?
I make a motion to continue the OKTLE McCreel.
We haven't heard from you, John.
I second the
Yeah.
motion. John's being quiet tonight.
Yeah.
McKinney,
Well, yes.
Bales.
Yes.
Cook.
Yes.
Cavall.
Yes.
John must be planning something here. He's, I'm just picking on him.
Moving
Number
right along.
9.8 carries. 9.9, consideration, discussion, possible board action to approve $1,000 salary for Trish Kane under summer lunch program.
We'll begin our summer lunch program in June 5th, and it'll end on the 29th. And we are also setting up our summer camps for students. It'll be paid for through some of our ESSER funds for student instructional recovery. One of those things to coincide. I'm recommending that we approve the summer salary for Ms. Kane so that she can provide summer lunch program for our students. And, this is really a great program. When our students don't have food over the summer, we provide that for them, and she does an outstanding job of making sure our students are fed here.
I recommend approving the $1,000 salary for Trish King.
Second. John, second.
McKinney,
Yes.
Bales.
Yes.
Cook.
Yes.
Romero, Cavall.
Motion carries.
Whoever I
Most people call him worse names than that.
we look alike.
Oh, motion 9.9 carries. 9.10, consideration, discussion, and possible board action to contract with Allied Labs for drug testing.
We have Allied Labs for our bus drug testing. We really haven't used it all that much, but we need to have them on standby in case we need them. And so I'd make the recommendation that we approve them for our upcoming school year, 23-24.
I move that we approve number 9.10, the contract with Allied Labs.
Second.
Kenny?
Yes.
Bales?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes.
Cavall?
Motion carries. 9.11, consideration and possible board action on going into executive session to discuss the employment, hiring, appointment, promotion, demotion, disciplining, or resignation of any individual, salaried public officer or employee, and to conduct ongoing superintendent evaluation as identified in accordance with the provisions of 25 OS Section 307B1. I move to 9.12, I move to convene into executive session.
I second.
McKinney?
Yes.
Bales?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes.
Cavall?
Yes.
7:07.